Hello, my PBC family and friends. Pastor Brian here with another quick bite, living the Word. Today, our word is going to come from something that's been heavy on my mind, um, and I don't know a way to go about this without just going right at it. And so, I just bear with me, hear me out entirely first, and then formulate your thoughts from that point, please. Our passage is going to come from Ephesians chapter 4. And I'm just going to read it to us, and I'm going to come back and discuss what I really wanted to talk about this morning with this as a way of a challenge for the way our lives should look. In Ephesians chapter 4, picking up at verse 17, and we'll probably go and just read down through, let's just go ahead and just read down through verse 24. It says, "This I say therefore, and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk, in the vanity of their mind, having their understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God through the ignorance that is in them, because of the blindness of their heart, who being past feeling have given themselves over to lasciviousness, to work all uncleanliness with greediness. But ye have not so learned Christ, if so be that ye have heard him, and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Jesus, that ye put off concerning the former conversation the old man, which is corrupt according to deceitful lusts, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that ye put on the new man, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness." So, why I thought about this so much lately? Honestly, it's in light of my battle with COVID, and it is I understand that this disease affects everyone differently, and that some don't feel like they got more than a weekend cold, while others, like myself, they're starting to call a long hauler, will be months in recovery here. Not that we can't function, but that we're going to be constantly working to get back to quote-unquote normal. So as I was thinking, about this, something that really started to bother me a lot, and partly bothered me because of the way my own attitude was towards COVID, was how many of us in ignorance, listening to the talking heads of both sides of the political parties in our nation, or of the scientific world, or to your best friend from high school who might have been a nurse at one point, or a CNA or something, how many of us have formulated an opinion about how bad this disease really is, and go around touting that like it's truth, like we understand. And it really just shows our ignorance. And Paul here is telling us not to be ignorant. We need to fully recognize that this is a real disease. It affects people differently, I understand that. For some, it is no more than the quote-unquote cold or flu. For others, it's a much more serious. I'll share more about that when I get the opportunity to preach again, as I share a little bit of my testimony of my battle here. Pardon me for a second. Echo, stop. But why I wanted to share that with you this morning is because one of the things I don't want us to be as Christians is ignorant fools who are unempathetic, who would go around and tout things just because we've heard them, or because we believe them to be true, in the vanity of our own minds. When in reality, we don't know. That's the crazy part about a lot of things in life, is we don't really know the extent of all these things and how they affect people. Our job is not to have formulating an opinion based off of a political view, or as, I love how he puts this here, right? I think this is a great way for Paul to put this. He says, why they've given themselves over to lascivious, to work all uncleanness. Why? Because they don't want, in other words, here's the point, right? They don't want to have heard these things. They don't want to be taught. They don't want the truth, right? They want what? Verse 22. They want the things according to their deceitful lusts. In other words, they want things to be the way they want them to be because of their own desires, not because of truth. So why I'm challenging with this morning is because no matter what somebody's going through, whether it's a disease, whether it's a loss of a loved one, whether it's a hard time at work, whether it's just anything, guys, in life. We, as children of God, ought to put on the new man, was created after Christ, which we know is gentle, kind, meek, long-suffering, empathetic, loving. The last thing it is arrogant, prideful, and foolish, and certainly not vain. So maybe the next time you think about saying something out of pure ignorance, not fully understanding what you might be dealing with, stop and consider how Christ might have responded to that person. It kind of reminds me of the woman caught in adultery. Christ had every opportunity to say the truth about what was going on in her life. And he had the complete truth. He wasn't ignorant in his mind. But yet, rather than choosing to say something so foolish, potentially hurtful, and honestly ignorant, he looked at her with love and compassion and said, "Neither do I condemn thee." Let's work on being those kind of people. Those people who now are renewed in the spirit of our mind and who have put on that new man, which is created in righteousness and true holiness. I love you. We love you. God loves you. And God's got this.